question. Can a guy in his 50s who's wanting to pick up single track riding as a new hobby do it on a 300 XCW? That's a question that we're gonna try to answer here in this video. Okay, let me give you a little background as to my riding experience. I have been riding motorcycles now for about 34 years. I started out back in 1991 when I came home from an assignment overseas in Germany. I went to the local bike shop and I bought a brand new CBR 600. And I have been riding motorcycles ever since. Now, most of that riding has been street riding, both sport bike and like Harleys. I've pretty much always owned those bikes since then. I've always had street bikes and Harleys in the garage since, you know, way back in 1991. I did go through a period where I was doing a lot of motocross riding with some friends of mine a few years back, but that kind of faded away. And about 5 years ago I got into adventure riding, which obviously is still my primary passion. But I really only started riding single track about 2 years ago with any sort of regularity. And how that came to be was I was at my local bike store and a friend of mine who is a dealer there suggested that I look into this KTM 300 XCW. And, you know, I said to him, like, man, two strokes, I don't want a two-stroke. They're too much work. You know, you have to stay in the power band, constantly shifting, you know, etc., etc. And he said, you know, I think you ought to try this new breed of two strokes. And they are not the same two strokes of old, right? So, trusting him, I bought this, and I was a little concerned because of the price tag, but I bought it anyways. And from the first time I threw a leg over this bike, I said to myself, wow, this is definitely not the two strokes of old. So again, I am a very seasoned motorcycle rider with plenty of off-road experience both on the track and adventure riding, but I am definitely not, or I was not, a seasoned single track rider, and I'm probably still not, but I can hold my own. Now, the thing about the 300 is you may have heard it referred to as the lazy man's bike. And that is because, unlike other two-strokes, this bike has the ability to tractor fairly well. Most of this stuff that I'm in right now, I'm in second gear, but most of this stuff I could probably do in third gear, because this 300 just tractors so well. Now, if you were in third gear, so I'm in third gear right now, climbing up a hill at only 20 miles an hour. If I was on an older two-stroke, I don't think that would be possible. And now again, I I haven't ridden two-strokes in quite a long time, and I don't know what the new breed is like. But I know that the 300 just loves to lug down a trail. So in that respect, it makes it quite an ideal bike for an older guy who's learning how to ride single track and doesn't want to be in the top of the power band all the time, right? Now, I mean, if you're in third gear and you come up to a corner like this and then it's an uphill climb, you are going to find that you don't have much power. It may not die, but it may not be accelerating for sure. It may be struggling, but nonetheless, it's not like a 250 or a 125 or 150 where you have to keep it in its power band, which I really like. Because let's face it, you know, you get older, you get some years on you, you're not in such a rush anymore. I don't need to be wound out top of the power band for everything anymore, right? I know that the bike's going to keep going. That's fine. So that I really, really like. Now, I'm a big guy. I'm about 6'4", and you know, anywhere between 235, 245 generally speaking. And this bike has all the power that I need at any time. I mean, there's no time where I feel that I need more power, right? Now I'm going a little bit slower than I normally would because I'm sitting down on the bike because you know, I want you to got to give the viewers something to look at, right? And if I'm standing up, it just looks like I'm walking through the forest. So this bike though is very, very capable. Obviously, I mean, it's obviously capable of really ripping through here. But so riding single track, for those of you who are thinking about getting into it but not sure, or you're just doing your research, some people probably figure, you know, what's the difference? If you can ride a motorcycle, you can ride a motorcycle. You know, I have lots of experience on dirt through adventure riding, but riding single track is a very different discipline than riding dirt roads or trails, you know, while you're adventure riding. It is totally different. As you can see, I have loose sandy berms, lots of little whoops like this. There's ruts, there's rocks, fallen trees you have to go over. All of that is pretty standard in a single track day, right? So that being said, it's why I think this 300 is really a great option for an older guy who's wanting to take on learning how to ride single track, because you can do it at a slower speed. You don't have to keep those RPMs high in the rev band. You can be in third gear, and if you come up to something that's not a third gear appropriate hill or something like that, it's not going to just die on you. You will have time. The bike will tell you, not doing that, better shift, right? So that just makes it all that much easier to learn what you're doing on single track with a motor that's more forgiving. and therefore it doesn't require you to be out of your comfort level as far as overriding the bike to try to learn a new skill, right? And that's awesome, to be able to learn a new skill while at the same time be comfortable on the bike. Now don't get me wrong, there are times when I whiskey throttle on this thing and it scares the piss out of me. It does have a shit ton of power and it will hit that power band pretty quickly. But like right now I'm in third gear, just kind of cruising up this hill. So I don't have to worry about the power band quite as much as if I was in first or second. The downshift here. So I really love it. You know, because it's a two-stroke, it won't flame out near as quickly as a four-stroke will. So you don't have to worry about that. The XCW is a KTM, so you know it. You also have the Husky, you have the Gas, all same platform, all the same motor, but the KTM comes with premium parts. And I'm not Graham Jarvis, you know, I'm not Chris Birch, but premium parts make for a better experience for sure. So why not, right? If you can afford it, why not go with the XCW, get those premium parts, and let's face it, most of us older guys, we're a little bit, well, better off, can afford some better things. That's the benefit of having some age, right? And you know, yeah, I mean, why not? Treat yourself, right? Okay, so let's see. If you were to buy a stock 300 XCW, what would you need to do to it? So again, I'm 6'4", so I have put some bar risers on mine just to make it a little easier. I do think that the higher handlebars do make the bike a little more twitchy. You're putting you're raising, you're elevating your contact with the forks up another couple of inches, and that can be difficult on single track, especially having a super twitchy bike. But it's not too terrible. I have not touched my gearing. I'm using the stock front and rear gears. I have put a couple of things on, like brake protectors, stuff like that. I think on this one, I can't see it right now, but I think I put a case saver on it, you know, different from the stock one. What else? I put some good flags on it, or I'm sorry, you know, hand protectors, hand guards. The stock flags that come on the bike are just not really, they're not good enough. They don't hold up in a crash. They're really just for branches, you know. First time you crash, you can forget about it. The suspension on this bike, the WP Explorer, is really good. If you're coming from a motocross background and you want fully adjustable both sides, you know, you can upgrade, sure. But you know, for my purposes, they are more than capable. What else have I done to it? I did put a Serbi what is it, 2.9, I think, gallon tank, or 2.3, I don't know, the bigger tank, just to get a few extra miles out of it in case I want to go on any longer trips. My son and I have both gotten real into single track riding here recently. So it's nice to have a little bit of extra range. Now, the other drawback that some would say to the two-stroke motor is the amount of maintenance you have to do on it. So this bike, the 300 XCW, is they say 100 hours before a top end, which is really not too bad. And then there's also the thing of, would you rather do a top end on a two-stroke or have to pull apart a four-stroke, right? I did the top end on my son's TE 150 not too long ago. Took me a couple of hours and it cost me about $230. So that's really not too bad, right? And what I do like about riding the two-stroke is that the power, when I need it, it's right there. Unless I'm up in fourth gear, usually even in third gear on something like this where I'm at right now, that's all I need. So so you know, if I want to zip, if I want to speed up, it's there for me instantly. So yeah, I'd say the biggest thing for me that I had to learn when it comes to riding single track was trusting the bike's ability to make these tight turns without sliding out, right? I had to learn to ride the bike a little bit different. I had to learn to pivot the bike under me more so than I'm used to doing. I had to learn how to stop it because a lot of times it's best to just stomp on that rear brake and let it drag to stop you, as opposed to hitting the front brake on a really loose, tight turn like this one up here. If I was coming in too hot on this, on the front brake, it would probably wash. So learning to trust the bike on the turns is really what was the biggest thing for me. And sometimes just letting it, man, I can't use the brakes, just gonna have to turn and hope it makes it, right? And more often than not, it does. So yeah, I guess the answer to the question, can an old timer who doesn't have experience riding single track, over 50 years old, take on the XCW or the 300 cc two-stroke to learn a new discipline? Absolutely, with one caveat. I think it really depends a little bit on your prior riding experience as well, right? So if you understand motorcycles and you've got some experience riding dirt, because it is a whole different animal than riding on pavement or tarmac, then yes, this is definitely the bike for you. If you're a beginning rider, which I highly encourage everybody, I don't care if you're 60 or 70, if you're thinking about picking up motorcycling, please do it. I think everybody should ride a motorcycle. But again, if you've never ridden before, you have very limited experience, something like a TE 150 from Husqvarna or the KTM 150 would be such a great bike for you, because it's so tame, but yet it has plenty of power, and is fully capable of tackling just about anything that this bike is capable of. So I would suggest that for a very new rider, if that makes sense. But anyways, guys, I hope that was, you know, somewhat good information for you. It's always hard to ride and think about what you're trying to say at the same time, you know. So if I left anything out and you have any questions for me, please feel free, hit me up, let me know, and I'll do my best to get back and answer, because I really want to encourage everybody, old, young, regardless, start riding motorcycles. It's such a fantastic way to spend your day, right? So, okay guys, I got some more trail to ride. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a great big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you get notified anytime I put out any new content. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you out on the trail. Take care now.